Hi, my name's Maya. I'm from Germany and I've been knitting since 2020. Recently I also got a bit into video making, so I thought that I would combine both of my hobbies. As a first video, I thought I would wind up last year and talk about what I knitted in 2023. So I want to go through the pile of knitting that I have next to me in categories. So if you're just interested in a certain category, I will link the timestamps below and you can skip forward if you want to. First things, socks. I knitted 3 pairs of socks last year. The first one I think I started in 2022, but only finished it in the beginning of 2023. These are the, let me look up, Meadow Mingle socks from Drops. The yarn I bought in a local yarn shop. I think it's just normal sock yarn. It's a very basic design with a lace pattern at the leg of the sock. I don't really wear them much because of the lacy design. They're kind of loose and they always drop down on me. So next pair of socks are the vitamin C socks from Stoneknits, colorwork socks as you can see. And I really got into colorwork socks this year after I discovered Stoneknits patterns. I think they're really beautiful and cute, so this one I really loved. I actually made 3 socks in total because I underestimated how tight I was knitting with colorworks and socks, especially with the very small needles. So I have a 3rd sock, the first one that I finished that didn't fit me at all because I have really broad feet and I didn't even get them over my feet properly. So I had to make them again. Now they're fitting very good and I love them. The last pair of socks are also colorwork socks. The I'm Batty for Halloween socks, also from Stoneknits. And I made them a bit shorter. They're supposed to have 1 row of bats more before you separate them for the heel. But to be honest, I kind of underestimated the yarn that I had left. I think I might have gotten 1 more row of the bat colorwork out of it, but I wasn't too sure and I didn't want to risk buying a new ball of yarn in the end. So I just, in case, made them a bit shorter, and I also really love the fit of them. So I made in total 4 Sophie Scarves with the pattern from petiteknit. The first one I made, I don't have it anymore. I gifted it to my mother-in-law and I made that one with Drops Baby Merino, which I think really suits the pattern very well if you don't want to spend too much money on the yarn, because I think that it's a very beginner-friendly pattern and in the beginning you maybe don't want to spend too much on it. It's also good to learn how to knit an I-cord, so I can really recommend if you just want to step into that technique. So for myself, I knitted 2 versions in compatible cashmere from Knitting for Olive. It's very soft. I think that's the only garment I've ever knitted in cashmere before, and I really love the touch of it, and especially because it sits very near at your neck and you don't need a lot of yarn. I think it's really worth buying cashmere for this project. The 3rd one I did a little longer version in merino from Knitting for Olive, I think, yes. And I also love that color a lot, it's Robin. So for hats, I made 2 hats this year, which for me is a lot because I'm not really a hat person. My head just doesn't tend to get very cold. But this year I went to Copenhagen by mistake because our flight got delayed, so we were stuck for 2 days in Copenhagen, which was nice. And I visited a yarn shop, which I think is very excited to go to a yarn shop in Copenhagen as a knitter. But as it was my first time, I kind of was overwhelmed, and so I only bought 4 balls of Sandnes yarn alpaca. It was on sale and I got it for very cheap. So I got 2 balls in a creamy beige colorway and 1 in a more brownish, light brown colorway. and I think I won't ever do something like that again, because just having 2 balls, it limits you kind of in what you can do with it. So I was stuck with this 4 balls of yarn, 2 each color, and the only good solution that I had was knitting hats out of them, which still is a good use, and I've been wearing both hats a lot. So this first hat I made the Quiet Delight beanie from Kutovakika out of her book Knit This, I think it's called. So it's a brioche stitch, very soft, and I combined my 1 strand of Sardines Garden alpaca with 1 strand of Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. You have a double folded brim, which makes it very soft and squishy. Let me put it on for you. So very soft and squishy and warm. For the second hat, I wanted to have something different in this color. I just wanted to have a bucket hat that I could wear in winter. That's very soft and squishy. So I made this one without a pattern. And I think that's the very first thing that I knitted without a pattern. So I'm very, very happy and very proud that it turned out so well. I started crocheting a bucket hat because online I found mostly patterns for crochet bucket hats, but I didn't really like the look of it. I like crochet bucket hats for summer to give it this airy but also a bit rustic look, if you know what I mean. But for this soft, squishy winter version, I kind of wanted it to have this more even texture. So I wanted to knit one, and I also wanted it to be very thick and warm and have a little bit of sturdiness to it. So I combined the 1 strand of alpaca Sardines yarn with 2 strands of brushed alpaca silk, because I had that one left over in my stash in a very similar colorway, and that's how it turned out. I knitted it on 6mm needles so that it's very dense, and made a double folded brim, and I really love how it turned out. I will just also try it on for you. Cute. Okay, next one. Garments. Let's start out with the tops that I made. This top I also started in 2022 and only finished it last year. It's the white sails top. The pattern is from Drops Design. I knitted it in Drops Saffron, so it's a cotton and it's very cool for summer. And yeah, honestly I don't have much to say about it. It's a very easy to follow pattern. I think also that yarn choice was a good one, perfect for summer, and yes, I really like wearing it. Then this next one is the white moon top, also a pattern from Drops, and I knitted that one in the recommended yarn choice, which is the cotton merino, which also works really great for summer. So I have worn that a lot in spring and summer, and yeah, it's in this pale pink shade, which is really pretty. Honestly, I'm not very much of a pink person, so I'm very I'm not sure why, but I knitted 2 pink things this year, and it starts to grow on me a bit, but oftentimes I don't find that the shade really suits me, but this one works out. So then I made 2 Camisole No. 5 from My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I used Drops Baby Merino on both of the versions. I have a cream one, or a white cream one, and one in a very pretty orangey tangerine color. And to be honest, I think if I will make another one, and I think I will be making another one maybe this year or next year, I will try to use another yarn At this point I was also just a beginner in knitting summer tops, and I was unsure if I really liked any other merino or if I only like cotton for summer. So I opted to go with a rather affordable yarn and chose the Drops Baby Merino. And it is a little bit thicker or heavier than it would be if I had used Knitting for Olives merino or anything like that. But it's still okay. You can wear it for summer, and it still has the very good properties of merino to be not too hot in summer, so it's good. My last summer top is the Camisole No. 9, also from my favorite things knitwear. And this one too I made in Drops Baby Merino. Same as in the other tops. I think I would prefer another yarn choice for summer tops, but it totally works out. So it's okay if you choose a rather affordable yarn for the beginning. I did that too. And yeah, a lot of cat hair on it. Yeah, very nice top. I loved it. You can also wear it in winter underneath your cardigans or anything like that. So just great option for all year round. Next category would be tees, blouses. The very first t-shirt I made was this puff tee from Knitting for Olive. The pattern calls for 2 strands of soft silk mohair. So for this top I chose another yarn combination. I knitted this with 1 strand of alpaca from Drops and 1 strand of kid silk, also from Drops, just because I wanted to have it as a fall piece. So I knitted this in early fall and wanted to have it a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier, which I achieved with it, but this yarn combination also works out really great for this pattern, so 100% can recommend, and I wear that a lot. Then I also made a long sleeved shirt. This is the rib tee from Knitting for Olive, and I used the Knitting for Olive merino for this. The pattern itself, so this 2x2 rib, is the same rib as on the Camisole No. 5. So here you have a direct comparison on how much lighter the Knitting for Olive merino is, and so I noticed that I want this texture a lot more for summer tops or anything like that. Just prefer it, and yeah, I only recently finished this at the end of November, I think. I'm not too sure anymore. Or was it at the end of October or something like that. And yeah, really like it. Nice, simple pattern. Then I made 2 Barbroe blouses. I'm not too sure if that's correct how I said that. One in Drops Baby Merino. The pattern is from Knitting for Olive. I forgot that. So this is in Baby Merino, and here is same. I made a second one. In this very dark bluish gray color. It's Midnight from Knitting for Olive and merino, and the Baby Merino one is so much more heavier and denser than the Knitting for Olive merino, so you really notice that this yarn is a little bit thinner than the Drops Baby Merino one, but still it's okay, turned out well. I'm not too sure if that color actually suits me. That's the second thing that I knitted in the pink color, and I chose that one because I really like the pictures from Knitting for Olive's version that they have in the knitting book and on the website. Drops Baby Merino doesn't have exact same colorway, so I chose that one, and I'm not too sure if it goes well with my skin color. But I still like it. I love the pattern a lot, and I'm not sure if that will be my last ones that I made. This blue one is very, very pretty. I think that one suits me a lot better. Then for sweaters, at the beginning of the year I made, and I have to look up what the pattern is called, the Sweetness Imprint sweater. Pattern is from Drops Design. I made it in this white cream colorway. I used Drops Air, that's the yarn that the pattern calls for, I think. It has this, how do you call that? Hole design? No. Is it a lace? It's kind of a lace, isn't it? It has this design all over it, and also at the top of the sleeves has a little bit of a wider sleeve and a dropped shoulder, and yeah, it's kind of cropped, so I really liked wearing it over dresses when it was still a little bit more chilly in the springtime. Then I made this is not a sweatshirt, sweater from Knitting for Olive, and with this one I used this yarn. This yarn is Drops Soft Tweed on a cardigan in 2022, and it was kind of a bad yarn choice, to be honest, because the pattern of a cardigan, it had very wide sleeves, it had a structure on its sleeves in the pattern. And then I also chose this very structured yarn. It's a tweed yarn, so it has a lot of specks and different colors in it, and it was just too much. I didn't really wear the cardigan, I didn't like the fit, and I also didn't like the color and yarn choice with the pattern that I made. It was just too much going on, so I frogged the cardigan and had this yarn and thought what I would want to do with it. And as I had purchased the Knitting for Olive knitting book and found this very simple pattern for a simple sweater, I chose to make that. I was unsure if I could fit the gauge with only one strand of this soft tweed, and so I decided to knit the yarn together with one strand of Drops Kid Silk. I kind of regret that because it gives it this very nice fuzzy look, which mohair always does, but for some reason the color choice was not a good one due to the lack of a fitting color in Drops Kid Silk. And it gives it, I don't know, I think that the tweed yarn is just a lot more beautiful on its own if you don't knit it together with a mohair. That's my learning out of that. I still like it, it's pretty, but I think it would be a lot nicer without the mohair. Then I made this waffle sweater. Pattern is also from Knitting for Olive. I used 3 strands of Drops Kid Silk in this very beautiful lilac color. It's also a color I'm not too sure if it actually suits me, but I think it's pretty and I wear it sometimes, so yeah, I like it. The lace pattern is very, very pretty. It has a very fluffy, airy, light look to it. Yeah. For the last sweater that I made, and I finished that just in time for Christmas last year. I made the holly sweater, also from Knitting for Olive, and I used for the main color I used 1 strand of Drops Alpaca and 1 strand of Drops Kid Silk, I think. It's not as beigey as I had wished for. I chose for the alpaca a grey color, and for the mohair I chose a beigey color and hoped that it would tone down the grey, which it did, but not too much. So it's a very warm grey, but it's still grey. But that's fine, it's also very pretty. And then for the yoke, for the green part, I had 1 strand of Drops Alpaca in this very dark green left over in my stash, and also 1 strand of Kid Silk in a dark green color, so that was good, and I could use up some of my leftover yarn. And for the berries on this sweater, I used 1 strand of Drops Kid Silk mohair. I had that one in a pinky color, rust, I think it's called rust, which worked out, and combined it with my leftover yarn from my petiteknit scarf. So it's knitting for olive merino in the color robin. So a very good project for me to at least use up some of my leftover yarn. And yeah, perfect Christmas sweater. I got a lot of compliments this Christmas, and I really like this very thick, fuzzy, warm texture that it has, and it's perfect for winter. Then I made 2 cardigans last year. One I have here, and this is the honey cardigan from Kutovakika. And I also made the same yarn choice as she calls for in the pattern. So I also used Drops Melody in this vanilla light yellow color, and I love the color a lot. But I think this will be the last time that I've knitted with Drops Melody, just because for some reason it always felts on me. I have only washed this one time by hand to block it, and still it's somehow, and I don't know why, it felted a little bit. It's not as fluffy anymore, it's very dense. And I think this one is half fisherman's strip. I hope I remember that correctly. And Kutovakika, she recommends in her book that you don't block this pattern wet, but instead you steam block it. But for some reason I thought that this is a garment and I'm gonna wear it, so I'm gonna wash it eventually, and I wanted to look how it turns out when I wash it. So yeah, kind of unhappy about that, but it still fits fine. I think that it shrunk maybe a little bit through that felting that it did, but yeah, still nice. And then I knitted another cardigan, but I don't have that with me because I gifted it to a friend of mine, and that was the Wave Romance cardigan from Drops, and I knitted that one in Drops Kid Silk in a grayish beigey color. Yeah, so I cannot show that one here, but this was also made last year. So on to the last one. I made one dress, and it's the Daphne dress from Vide Knits. It's black, so you can see a lot of cat hair and wool threads on it, wool hair. So please don't mind that. And I was heavily inspired to knit this one by someone on Instagram that I saw. I think she's called Adele. Wait, let me look that up. Adele Wezingi. Yeah. And she knitted the Daphne dress in black, and I really liked it a lot. It looked beautiful on her. So that was the reason that I also made my version in black. Chose the same yarn as she did. This is Drops Muscat, so a cotton yarn for the body and the skirt part, and Drops Kid Silk for the sleeves, which makes it a very affordable yarn choice for this dress. But on the other side, I must say it's very heavy. So it's good that it's a short dress, because for a long version, this yarn choice would definitely just be too heavy. But then again, for some reason I don't really wear it, because I don't wear short skirts or dresses anymore. In my wardrobe, I mostly only have long skirts or long dresses, so to be honest, I'm not too sure why I even knit this dress. I think I might have only knitted this because I thought that the pattern was really pretty, and I still think that. It's a very beautiful dress. And yeah, but still don't know when I'm gonna get to wear that dress. We will see. So that was all I knitted in 2023. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Bye!